Binging is good. This is Chatterbinge.
He is one of the more versatile actors working in the industry over the past 35 years. Take your remote for a ride. You'll be shocked how many times you'll say, "He's in that too?" He's one of the more familiar faces and voices in Hollywood. His latest role is as iconoclastic billionaire Brad Vinnick in season 2 of the Netflix series A Man on the Inside. It is great to say hello to Gary Cole. Gary, welcome to Chatterbinge.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You got it. This latest project, the role of Brad Vinnick in season 2 of A Man on the Inside. Gary, for those who may not know, tell us a bit about A Man on the Inside.
Well, Man on the Inside, this is season 2. So season 1, Ted Danson, who stars in the show, is a retired professor who somehow finds himself being a private investigator. Season 1 took place he was trying to unravel some mystery in a nursing home. And this year it all takes place on a college campus called Wheeler University. And Brad Vinnick is an alumni, a billionaire, quite an annoying billionaire who's considering dropping a large sum of money onto the university with strings attached. And he becomes part of this, mystery. And we're not sure whether or not he's part of the scandal or the bad guys or whatever, but he's certainly shady and oblivious to anybody else's feelings or responsibilities. So it's a lot of fun. It's Mike Shore, who wrote the show and created it, was behind the Office. He created Parks and Rec. Just a very original, smart, funny writer.
Yeah.
And that comes through in the show as well.
And you could see, in season 1, and you can see that DNA from those shows as well. Of course, this is a standalone project, but you can kind of see that and you get that feel. It's a really fun show in a lot of different ways. I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up NCIS, where you are already almost 80 episodes into that long-running franchise. Your role is Alden Parker. Gary, what is that like as an actor to join a project that is already a well-oiled machine, like NCIS, like Veep, and you can even say A Man on the Inside now in season 2. So what is that like to kind of catch the figurative train a few stops down the line after it originally left the station?
Yeah, it's a good way to put it. You feel it. You feel it when you walk in the building. You know that this is it's not just a show, it's an institution. And when I got there, I could see how efficient things were. You got a crew there a lot of this crew has been there for 20 plus years. A lot of them worked on a show previous that NCIS was actually a spinoff of called JAG. Mm-hmm. And it just, it continues to roll on. And it's gone through a lot of different forms. It's gone through a lot of cast changes, obviously. But recently we had a writer that had returned after 10 years. And he actually said something interesting. He said, and he was in the ground floor. He was one of the original writers. And he said, we built this show to last. So we knew that even if people came and went, if we still held an audience, that it could go on. And it's that kind of a show. People kind of know what to expect. There's a format to it. And yet the writers, take my hat off to them, they've been able to keep that, whatever that kind of quirky tone in front of this procedural, and so far, they've been successful.
It's an evolution, but that foundation is always still there to kind of fall back on, and I think that's a wonderful thing, and it's a great creative thing as well. You work all the time, which means you get projects offered to you all the time. Gary, how do you choose? What makes a project, what makes a role right for you?
Certainly the longer I've worked, the more I've recognized that it's all about the writing. It's all about the writing because it's really, that's where you have to start. Certainly people involved have something to do with it. Actors, directors, you're drawn to people you want to work with that you admire. But when it's there on the page and you can recognize it and that there's something there to be mined, That's what it's all about. Doesn't matter whether it's drama or comedy. It's got to be there, because if it's not, it can be successful, but it's more of a dice roll if it will work. If you have good writing from the get-go, chances are, if you don't screw it up, it's going to be what it set out to be. So it's really, but that's the first thing I look at. But then the second thing is the people involved. When
I think of you, I'm a radio geek. I think of you as Jack Killian on Midnight Caller all the way back in the late 80s on NBC. And that was one of my favorite shows in college. So to me, I always think about you going all the way back to that. When you think back to your earlier self, your earlier performer, what do you notice most?
Well, I look back. I mean, it's funny. There is an evolution there. I guess I've always thought, when when you get started, you kind of you try to do your best on everything. And sometimes there's a freedom. When I was younger, there was a freedom to do things and not maybe worry about so much about how things are perceived and stuff like that. And there's something to that. But over the years, I think what's as important to learn what to do, it's as important to learn what not to do in front of a camera.
Yeah.
You can save yourself a lot of time and it's about clarity. It's about, getting something over to an audience. You notice those things. I've looked at, I look at Midnight Caller. Midnight Caller was a great training ground for a young actor. And I was really fortunate because it was really good writing. But it was layered, it had some substance to it. I had a lot of time working, kind of like monologues, right? I'm on the radio, and as you know, I mean, you're kind of an isolated thing there. And that was a good training ground for me to just establish what the tone of something is, because all of those speeches were all over the place. Yeah. Some of them were really dramatic, some of them were humorous. So that was helpful to me. I learned a lot doing that show.
So writing is a theme in this conversation. You talked about how you look for good writing. Midnight Caller, it was the writing. The shows you're doing now, it's the writing. When a character's dialogue becomes part of the pop culture lexicon, and you have more than your share. I mean, pick any of 50 Bill Lumbergh lines from Office Space, at least a dozen as Mike Brady. My favorite was always, "Put on your Sunday best, kids. We're going to Sears." So there's no way of knowing that's going to happen when you're doing the work, or is there?
No. I mean, that's something that forms later. When we did Office Space, all of the actors on that movie, we all knew what we were working on was really good. We were all big fans of Mike Judge, but no one had any clue that a movie like that, a small movie like that, would break through. And especially because it did not do well in the theaters. It was in and out of the theaters quickly. So like most movies are. So we just thought, okay, well, and then, and all of us, not just myself, began to hear things just walking down the street where people would shout the lines you're talking about.
Yeah.
And so we all realized, well, there's something else going on. This captured something, like you said, in the zeitgeist. It's like all of a sudden people are adopting this. It's like it's forming, But you never know about that. There's no way to explain why a movie breaks through or why it doesn't. I mean, there's theories about it, but it's hard to know. I mean, you can't predict it.
Well, whenever I have to work on a Saturday, I feel as if Bill Lumbergh compelled me to do so. Well, once again, season 2 of A Man on the Inside. It's streaming now on Netflix. It is quite a ride. Gary Cole, I've enjoyed this. Thank you so much for joining us here on Chatterbinge.
You bet. Thanks for having me.
You got it. Have a great day. Take care.
You too.
He is one of the more iconic actors working today. And that is not an overstatement because of simply the amount of work that he does. He's always working. He's working multiple series at the same time as he's doing right now. Mark Harmon left NCIS. They slide Gary in. Boom. They don't miss a beat. He's now the star of that show. He was here to talk about A Man on the Inside on Netflix. They slide him in. He's an important part of the show. And that goes all the way back through his career. And I kidded around in the open. It's true. Sit down and watch TV. You'll see him in so many different things through the years. Go back and look at his IMDb. You'll scroll all day. Midnight Caller for me, that was quite a show because, yeah, obviously I'm into radio, and he played a retired San Francisco cop who becomes a radio host, but he ends up working cases on the side, and it's very interesting. It's very 80s-ish, but it showed what he could do. And the iconic roles. Mike Brady, Bill Lumbergh, he's in Talladega Nights. He plays Ricky Bobby's father. All of these roles along the line that has allowed him to put together one hell of a career. And he's really a nice guy as well. He and I spoke a couple of times back on my old show through the years, and he is always a great conversation. I'm Ed Kalegi.
Great conversations happen here.
Chatterbinge.
Chatterbinge.
And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you can always catch our best guest conversations and segments right here on the YouTube home of Chatterbinge.